right, guys, big announcement before we get into this show. Give the YouTube video for each show moving forward 1,000 likes plus. We got to get to 1,000 likes on this video. I'm going to be giving away a 16-round draft solution in every video moving forward. If you already have a 16-round draft solution, I'll give you a 365 membership. If you already got that, I'll give you a credit for next year. Listen, guys, I give away each video and podcast up until the season starts. My 16-round draft solution, get light years ahead of the competition. One giveaway per episode. That's one giveaway per episode, guys. All we gotta do is get the videos over 1,000 likes. Hit that like button to be entered automatically. Let's get to 1,000 likes and let's get to those giveaways. 16-round draft solution, go crush your leagues. Now let's get to this show. We're talking about that's five, guys, massive tips, practical to this year to help you guys crush your leagues. Let's get to the show. Got an exciting one here for you. We are talking about 5 massive fantasy football draft tips, league winning advice that's specific to this year. So this isn't just general advice. I'm going to deep dive into the tip that I'm going to give you and relate it to this year. So it's going to be very hands-on specific, and it's going to give you a little bit of a sample on my strategy in the 16-round draft solution. So now if you are new, make sure you guys subscribe to this Outside the Box Thinking. I kind of dabble and take a look at the competition a little bit, and there is no competition when it comes to fantasy football analysis. This is the #1 fantasy football podcast, and I'm not saying that to brag. I just listen to others. I just dabble and I check stuff out. There's a lot of bad advice being given out there, guys. Nothing is as practical, hands-on, and bulletproof as the advice I give. It actually works. So make sure you guys do subscribe, and make sure you interact in the comments below. If you have any questions, I'll make this super interactive as for you guys as well, all right? Subscribe, thumbs up. One more quick thing, okay? I will be doing a daily giveaway on the 16-round draft solution. Now, if you already have the 16-round draft solution, I'm going to give you guys a Fantasy 365 community giveaway. So, massive, massive giveaway, all right, guys? So, how to enter? Like this video. We want to get this video over 1,000 likes. Every video over 1,000 likes, like the thumbs up button, I will be giving away one 365 community membership or 16 rounds. If you have both, I'll give you a membership to next year, okay? So if you are already purchased into the programs, you will get a credit for next year as well. So I'm giving away a 16-round draft solution giveaway. Get this video over 1,000 likes here, and I'll be giving it away in the comments. I will just randomly come in, comment, and say, you're in. I'll give you access to 16 rounds, one winner per video moving forward. All right, guys? Very, very important on that giveaway. All right, so let's dive into these 5 massive tips. And let's start off with the first one. Now, again, I'm going to deep dive a little more specifically into them. All right, first tip, very, very massive. Don't follow the rankings. Now, this is honestly contrary to what everybody's telling you. Let me explain specifically to this here and how off the rankings are specifically. Now, everyone's telling you, you get a magazine specifically. Let me find a magazine here for you. I'm just going to pull out a magazine if I can find it. I don't even know where I found it here. One sec, guys. This is from last year, right? Everything is predicated on these consensus magazine rankings. Everything you see, every website you see, every video you see, top 10 rankings this, top 10 rankings that. Now, I do rankings just to, fill some time, but I tell you in those ranking videos, don't listen to the rankings. Well, what do you listen to, Joe? 16 rounds, because you don't draft on rankings. You draft on optimal place to draft in each round. Now, again, I've got a magazine here, Consensus Consensus Magazine. Now, let me give you guys a specific example from last year, all right? Now, if you guys remember here, I'm going to pull this up close to the camera here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Robert Woods here was ranked 15th, okay? Every magazine last year told you Robert Woods was ahead of Cooper Kupp. Now, where was Cooper Kupp ranked last year? I have no idea. He was ranked well below him. So the point I'm trying, 22nd, right here. All right, guys. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is when I'm talking about this first tip, don't follow the rankings. Now, that's just one example. Oh, Joe, that was a fluke. Yeah, they had Robert Woods ahead of him. It's just a bit of a fluke, all right? Let's take a look at another example here. I want you to take a look. It's Brandon Ayuk here, okay? And he is ranked 29th, all right? Now, if you guys are listening in the car, I just mentioned Robert Woods last year was ranked 15th. Cooper Kupp was 22nd. And I've got here Brandon Ayuk ranked 29th. Okay, you can see it there. So where was Deebo Samuel? There he is at number 35. Can you guys see that? If it's zooming in, okay? So the point I'm trying to make here, and I can go on. I can sit through this magazine and sit here all day and go over examples. I'll give you a couple more here just to solidify my argument here. And the one I'm going to go specifically to you guys is the running back here. And again, the point I'm trying to make here, and I want to hammer this point home here, is do not listen to the consensus. Do not listen to the consensus rankings. And I'm going to dive in specifically for this year on what is off this year specifically that's jumping out at me, okay? So as you can see here, Najee Harris, 14th, guys. I don't know if you can see it here, if it's zooming in properly on the camera. Najee Harris, and I go through this magazine, and this is a guideline here, right? This was across the board everywhere, but I'm just giving you an example specifically. Najee Harris was outside the top 10 on all consensus rankings last year, on every single consensus rankings outside the top 10. I told you to draft Najee ahead of Christian McCaffrey last year. Now, am I a psychic? Do I have any special powers? No. But what happens is, guys, I can have a vision and see this guy's prime for volume, opportunity, young, talented. I can see things before they happen. That's what I offer in the 16-round draft solution. But what you guys got to do specifically is be aware. So let's talk specifically for this year, 2020 fantasy football. When you're looking at the ranking specifically, I can see some things completely out of whack already. Christian McCaffrey, overpriced. Could he boom? Absolutely, but he's played 10 games the past 2 seasons. Austin Eckler, sitting at number 3. This guy came off a pinnacle year, 12 touchdowns on the ground, 8 receiving touchdowns. This was the best year in his entire career. Now, I know he likes fantasy and all this stuff. I don't care. The fact of the matter is he's not a big workhorse running back, and he peaks at around 200 some odd attempts. That's kind of his pinnacle year. So Austin Eckler, to me, is a pass. Very, very expensive. Number 3 amongst running backs here. So again, I'm seeing a lot of things on the rankings that don't make sense at all. DeAndre Swift at 8, sitting ahead of guys like Ezekiel Elliott, who finished 7th last year. Again, their rankings are way out of whack. Some players are completely biased on, but most certainly, they're very copy and paste, okay? I see Leonard Fournette sitting ahead of Saquon Barkley, which is crazy. We just found out news. Leonard Fournette is 260-plus pounds. Absolutely ludicrous that you have one job to do, and you can't even do that right. You're overweight. I mean, come on, man. I know it's offseason, but get yourself together, right? Doesn't look good, right? So, again, Saquon Barkley is out there trying hard contract year. How is he ranked below, DeAndre Swift and Leonard Fournette ahead of him? Crazy. Aaron Jones. This is a guy who's an RB2 on his team. If you look at it statistically, numbers-wise, he had less attempts, less rushing yards than A.J. Dillon. So A.J. Dillon is the RB1. So the point I'm trying to make is I don't like either one of them if there's a committee there, but I'd rather get Dillon later than spend, a top early second round pick on an Aaron Jones. So do you guys understand where I'm going with this? Again, this is just running backs. I can sit here and analyze all this. If you look at wide receivers, it's crazy that T. Higgins is top 12 when they have Jamar Chase there, sitting ahead of guys like Michael Pittman, ahead of guys like Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Adam Thielen, even though Adam Thielen is a 2, right? Christian Kirk is sitting 39th on the consensus rankings behind guys like Renfro. Okay, there's a problem there. Christian Kirk is the wide receiver 1 on his team. Renfro is like the wide receiver 3 on his team now with Adams and Waller back, right? Or Adams there and Waller coming back. So Juju, who's like, who knows what's going on with those guys? Very suspect offense. He's sitting 30th, again, ahead of guys like Christian Kirk. Drake London, who's the wide receiver 1 on his team. You got Treylon Burks, who's going to be a plug and play this year, and he's going to be theoretically a wide receiver 1, maybe even a wide receiver 2, and he's sitting behind guys like Ayuk. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So it's about not seeing things before they happen. So this is just an example. I've given you a ton of examples from last year, this year, on things that don't look right. And going back to the tip here, do not follow the consensus rankings. Believe me, they're way off. And if this is making sense to you, if you guys want to win your leagues, get the 16-round draft solution. Use code TUBE20 because I literally put everything on the line there for you guys to make sure you guys crush your leagues. All right, guys? So don't follow the consensus rankings, number 1. Number 2, aim high on the depth chart. This is a very simple rule, guys. Always when you're drafting, aim high. So specifically this year, when I'm talking this year specific, you got a guy like Drake London who's sitting 40th on the consensus rankings, and he's high on the depth chart. But you're looking at a guy like, let me give you an example here, Hunter Renfrow. Again, back to that example. 36. He's sitting ahead in the rankings ahead of Drake London. Absolutely ludicrous. And he's not high on the depth chart. Give me Drake London over Renfro. And again, that's just one example. Let me give you another quick example here for you guys, which is absolutely ludicrous. And it's just mind-blowing. Jalen Waddle, okay, number 2 on the depth chart, peaked at 141 targets, all right? Listen to this. Jalen Waddle, 140 plus targets minimum last year. He was the wide receiver 1, no Tyree Kill, okay? This year, Tyree Kill comes in, who demands 159 targets. That's based on last year. And they put Tyree Kill, going back to the first point, the first point, don't follow the rankings. Tyree Kill is copied and pasted from last year, but how is Tyree Kill going to get 159 targets? He's got a downgrade at quarterback, right? And they put him in there with Waddle. And Waddle is sitting at number 16. So one of these guys is going to thrive. Who is it? They're both very expensive. Waddle sitting 16th in PPR amongst wide receivers, and Tyreek sitting 8th amongst wide receivers. So again, I'm looking at opportunities. Again, I'm going to give you an example. Darnell Mooney, who's the wide receiver 1. Amon St. Brown, who's the wide receiver 1. You got, who else is there? Christian Kirk, who's wide receiver 1. Drake London, Cortland Sutton, or Jerry Jeudy, who are ranked well below. Again, guys, you got to look at the depth chart. You got to aim high on the depth chart and make sure you don't get a wide receiver 2 very early. As you can see, Higgins, Waddle, very, very expensive. And they're lower on the depth chart, which is absolutely ludicrous. All right, guys? But you'll notice for the most part, the top 10 guys, Cooper Kupp, Jefferson, Chase, Adams, they're all high on the depth chart. Now, the secret here, guys, and what you got to realize is that these guys are high on the depth chart. They're top 10. There's a ton of other wide receivers that are high on the depth chart that could finish top 10 that you don't got to pay top 10 price. Does that make sense, guys? Aim high on the depth chart. That's a very big golden nugget I just gave you guys. Does that make sense? If you notice, guys, the top 10 wide receivers are high on the depth chart, right? Your Devontae Adams, your Diggs, your CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 1s, but they're top 10, you got to pay expensive. Why not get wide receiver 1s that are outside the top 10? Man, I sometimes surprise myself with this knowledge. Common sense, guys. The Common Sense Corner here on the Counselor Podcast. Let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Let's get it up there. I'm doing a giveaway. Let's go. All right, let's go. I love that point. All right, number 3 here. Tip number 3, balance your roster with risk adverse guys and guys that are a little more secure. What do I mean by that, guys, when I say balance your roster? What I'm saying is when you go earlier, and again, you feel safer with these guys that are top 10, but they're not necessarily safer. But you want to get those volume getters, those running backs, those guys that are going to get the volume. And later you could take some swings. Get yourself a John Mitchie. Get yourself a Christian Watson on the Packers. Get yourself an Alec Pierce. You can take some risks later, a Tyler Algier. Gave you guys a bunch of sleepers there for free. You can take those risks later after you secured your sneaky 7. Again, I go over all that in the 16-round draft solution, which you can win today, guys. And if you don't want to win, just get it right now, because the chances of winning are slimmer, right? But at least there's a chance. Get this video to 1,000 likes, comment below, and just say what's up. Let's get this interactive. But again, the main thing is we want to get this to 1,000 likes. That's the main thing. I'll do a giveaway, all right? So we're talking about this. We're talking about balance your roster, risk, and secure. Very important. Don't always go for the safe players. That's not how you're going to win. You got to take some chances, all right? Number 4 here, let's debunk this. Robust RB. You got to go robust RB. I don't care what anyone else says. There's a lot of people saying 0 RB, which means go wide receiver, and wait for running backs. But the problem with that is, let's imagine we do that here. We go 0 RB, we wait. Let's say we go Cooper Kupp, which I think is going to decline this year significantly. Then you go a guy like Diggs or something like that. Great, you got 2 wide receivers, or you go Tyree Kill, who I think is set for a decline. Like I said, not enough volume there. Let's just say you do that. You got 2 declining wide receivers coming in, different opportunities, different situations, different year. And then you fade a Taylor, a Henry, someone like that. And now you're looking at running backs in the 3rd round. And again, you can get a secure running back in the 3rd round. You get a Zeke Elliott, maybe a David Montgomery, but now you're taking a risk because Zeke Elliott's been on the decline the past couple years, but I think he'll be solid this year. And you got David Montgomery, new coach, probably possible committee there, but I still think he'll be solid. And then you got guys like Jacobs, Dobbins, who coming off an injury. He's got Lamar. Then you start looking at him in the 4th round. Elijah Mitchell, Miles Sanders, all risk guys. Chase Edmonds, who I don't trust. Now, I just did a draft here where people went, it was a super flex quarterback league. They went 2 quarterbacks back to back. They went wide receiver, and then their RB1 was like Antonio Gibson, who I think is 1 fumble away from losing his job. They brought in Brian Robinson there, rookie, who doesn't have any fumbling problems out of college, complete contrary to opposite of what Antonio Gibson does. So the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is I do a lot of research for you. You don't want to go, you don't want to pass up the running backs. This is the most scarce position. Only about 8 or 9 that have that full workload without a committee. Load up on this position, guys. I cannot emphasize this enough. Go robust RB early, RB1, get that in the first round, or another RB1, get that in round 2. Make sure you're solid. Make sure you have, in a 2 running back league, 4 to 5 running backs minimum. Okay, guys, and aim high on those depth charts, all right? So let's recap here. We're going to get to tip number 5. Don't follow the consensus rankings. I gave you a ton of examples. They screwed you last year. The same guys telling you to draft Cooper Kupp first overall amongst wide receivers are the same guys that had Robert Woods ahead of him last year. So don't follow the consensus rankings. Aim high in the depth charts. Balance your roster. Make sure you got some risky guys later, some safer guys earlier. Go robust RB. 0 RB is not the way to go. There's a ton of depth at wide receiver, guys, believe me. And tip number 5, anticipate and be confident. All right, what do I mean by that? You've done the research. You aim high on the depth chart. You don't follow the rankings. You've done your research. You're looking for those breakouts. You've got the 16-round draft solution, or you've won the 16-round draft solution. Make sure you get this video to 1,000 likes. Let's go, guys. Hit that like button. I'm giving it away. I'm going to be commenting to you guys directly with the giveaway and giving you guys access to the 16-round draft solution. So again, you've done all these things, so you got to anticipate making sure that you don't get sniped from these players in the draft, and you got to be confident in your selections. That's tip number 5. It's a double whammy here. Anticipate and confidence, meaning you got to do a bunch of mock drafts, be confident, know when players are coming off, and make sure you guys take those players and nobody else snipes them away. Okay, guys? Very important, and confidence. You've done the research. Be confident, have conviction in your picks. All right, guys? 5 massive tips that are specific to this year. A ton of information here for you guys. Go run with these tips. Be confident. Don't follow the mainstream. Do it the opposite of what everyone else is doing. If everyone's running this way, go the other way. All right, guys? Unless there's a specific example, which, maybe it's a life-altering, situation where there's a building fire or something like that. Okay, guys, common sense in fantasy. If someone's going this way, go that way. All right, guys? They're just going to be following the consensus rankings. When they're drafting on ADP. It's not going to help them. All right, guys? Let's get this video to 1,000 likes. I'm going to be doing a giveaway here in this video. And I'm telling you guys, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel and go get 16 rounds. Use code TUBE20. All right? Appreciate you guys. 5 massive tips. Go apply them and stop listening to the consensus other podcasts. They're not here to help you. This is number 1. So subscribe. We'll talk soon.